Yo, in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how I made this HABSTRAKT style bass house drop. Right, a couple things I want to get over before we get into this. First of all, free FLP, which means the first link in the description will be a zip file. Also, this main drop element I made with my Metamorphosis SERUM pack, but in the zipped loop package, it will be consolidated. There will be a track here with that bass line that I made. More on that pack later in the video. Anyway, let's get into it. If you don't know HABSTRAKT is like the leading force right now in bass house. And if you don't know, then, you know, bass house is like my main thing. So this drop here is inspired by HABSTRAKT's track Outer Space, but it takes inspiration from all of his different styles. And of course, I've sprinkled a little bit of my own flavoring on there. So let's start with the drums. First of all, this kick and clap are from my MADLOUD free drum kit that is linked in the description of this video. We've got this kick and this clap. And so our kick here, very simple, punchy, and short. You can see how very clean that is. We're hitting sub, we're hitting bass, low mids, and then we're kind of hitting a little bit of texture in the mids and above. All of this is a little bit of texture. You don't need that, although it sounds way nicer when you do have that texture. In fact, in some HABSTRAKT style tracks, the high end is very much boosted in a kick, but we'll get to different ways you can increase the high end of a kick in a moment. So here's our clap. First of all, you can see the way that I've placed it just by the way the sample is. It's not exactly on the grid, and so when you shift it off like this, you can see, I mean, I can't really zoom in close enough, but there's a tiny little segment just before the cursor that I've put there where there's something, and that tiny little bit of something makes a big effect. It makes the clap sound slappy, and I just love it. And together with the kick, and the kick and clap are both going into a drum bus with Nani, which is just a compressor. It's all it is. You can use a different compressor. Won't talk about that more. And then also we have this hat. Just a very clangy sounding hat. If you want other hats, there's some in my MADLOUD pack. Simple. Just a hat on the offbeat. Not too much kerfuffle. However, we are adding in sort of groovy hat here. And that's following a unique pattern. If I turn on the metronome, you can hear it. As you can hear, there's a lot of swing on that, which means it's not exactly on the grid, and that makes it very swaggy. So together with the other hat, you hear this. And remember, I was saying something about texturing. So we've got this loop here that really just, it's there to create some texture. Bit crushed way out of space. And we've just reduced the high treble and anything below the mids. And also that is going into the drum bus. So that when you compress it together with the kick and clap, you get a really textured sound. And together with the hat, that just helps make it sound way more full and holistic. You could also add different kinds of percussions and be your own chef here, so to say. But this is the main recipe, essentially. Now, I'm gonna add something here that doesn't really belong as part of the drums, but because it's hitting on the same offbeat as the hat and kind of acts as a percussive element, I'm gonna add it. So right here, we've got this. And this is actually a resampled sample from Outer Space. And we're just playing that short bit every single time the hat hits, which is the offbeat. So it layers with the hat. It is the epitome of high energy. Don't do it too much because it can get quite annoying. For simplicity's sake, there's a super fast way to make something extremely energetic. So all the drums, including that gooba together. Then we also have this tom that hits every time there's a transition. So like right in the beginning here, for example. It's just quite a reverberated tom impact sound. If you have a dry tom, then what you can do is use Fruity Convolver, kind of go in here and create sort of a reverb shape like this. Resample that and cut that last bit out, and you get something like this. simple as that. In the second part of the drop, we're introducing some more percussion, and it's just also hitting that same swing, same pattern once per bar. There's also this transition element that we've just chopped up. It sounds like this. Now it's your choice here. Put it into the sidechain or don't. But when you do put it into the sidechain, you can have more of it, in my opinion. If you don't have it into the sidechain, it becomes quite like, here's a transition. And I feel about it the same way that I feel about film editing, is when you can tell that we go from scene to scene or from shot to shot, and you could see the edit like a transition. Unless it's Star Wars, I don't know. I don't want to see a wipe go across the screen. It's distracting. You know, so when a noise transition is super loud and not sidechained, it has to be a choice. I would love to be a music teacher because I feel like I'd be very fun. Maybe not very useful, but probably very fun. See, I almost forgot about this. Here's the last bit. Another resampled little tom effect. It sounds like this. Just to layer with that tom we had from before. It just sounds cool. Now, kind of like the most important part of this sound is obviously this sound. It's the synth. In order to create this, I used one of my Metamorphosis presets, but I've just completely changed it up. The essence here for this kind of sound is a saw wave that is heavily manipulated. So right here, you can see, yes, oscillator A and B are on, but technically oscillator B is off because the level is at 0, but we need it on because we're using it to mess around with the FM of A. So as you can see here, oscillator A, FM from B, simple, slightly detuned using fine tuning saw wave, and then literally 21% or whatever you think sounds good FMing from this other highly different octave sound. Could be any wave you like, just whatever you find the sounds nice of. Then the sub and some noise. The sub so that it compresses together in that distortion. As you can see, we're actually cutting off the sub afterwards. It's essentially just to create texture. When you compress a sub and another higher octave something together, you get really dirty sound. And HABSTRAKT is just all dirty sound in a good way, Then there's this comb filter that is just key tracking. That's just experimentation, whatever sounds good. If you do go ahead and get Metamorphosis, you can find it in the description of this video. You can mess around with everything that I've set for you there. There's over, I think there's over 60 presets like this one. It's a lot of work went into that. So if you do want to check it out, again, link in the description. But I will consolidate this at the end of the video where you can just have that. And then one thing that really brings it to life is when we are pitch bending it. I haven't found a single person who doesn't agree with me here. Pitch bending your lead, it makes it talk to you. It makes it have an emotion. It makes it come alive. And you can just pitch bend it however you like, but I kind of tried to copy the outer space style. If you want to know how to pitch bend your SERUM, simply go here, use browse parameters and touch the pitch bend knob. It will open it up here on the left, and then all you got to do is right click that, create automation clip for your selected length. So I did 1 bar, and then I created that and just copied that over and over and over. All right, and obviously as you can see here, we're compressing it further, and we are getting rid of the bass and below, and we're boosting the high mids and above. And then I sound goodizer to even just push it further. Now layering that, we have this sub, which is actually another feeder sub. So it also goes into that same lead to make it even more dirty, which is when this compressor actually takes effect. I almost forgot about this. It's essentially just a sub from my Metamorphosis pack, which we're using twice. Once here as an actual sub, you'll hear it here. And once here as a feeder, you'll hear it here. So without, with, see how it gets a bit more dirty? And then layering the actual sub, we get this. That's just a really colorful sound, really saturated, really thick. And that's what we love. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. If you did like what we made here today, then be sure to like the video and subscribe. I just posted this DJ set that I've been working on for a really long time. So if you're interested in checking that out, it'll be the video that pops up on screen. It's about just 30 minutes of me jamming out to some UK garage tunes and some stuff you may not have heard before is in there also. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one, hopefully very soon. Peace.